Hi, everybody. My name is Omar. Welcome to another exciting book series show. Today, we're going to bring you a wonderful guest. Let me just show you the flyer here. We have Kofi Duhaji, originally from Togo, a good friend of mine, and he wrote a book here called Unbroken Optimist. We're going to get to talk to him in a second here. Wonderful guy, and we talk about his progress. I have his book here, and I read it. It's awesome, and we're going to talk about how he wrote the book, why he wrote the book, and what it's all about. Let's go ahead and bring in our special guest. I believe he's in Nebraska now. Let's bring him on. All right, there he is. Welcome. Good afternoon, Kofi. How are you?
Good afternoon, brother. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. I'm doing great. Happy Wednesday. Are you in Nebraska?
We are still in Papillion, Nebraska. Yes.
That's awesome. All right. What? Tell us a little bit. How's your weeks and months this year has been for you?
It's been busy growing and learning. You know, we are currently getting my newer book um, ready to be published, anytime this week. So, yeah, I've been working on that. And actually, that is going to be my first book in French.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So even though French is my first language, I've never written. All my books are in English so far. So this is the first book I've written in French.
oh wow. Well, we can talk about that too. Then awesome. So today the main thing is to talk about your book, Unbroken Optimist. This is a wonderful book. When did you start publishing this? What year was that? I think it was
2021,
2020.
November 2021,
Wow.
precisely.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read a little bit about you, your bio for our guests and audience here. So you are from Togo. If you guys don't know, that's a small country in Africa, and it's only four letters, right?
TOGO.
Two, and it's two and to go, right? It's awesome. You're an entrepreneur, writer, publisher, consultant, and first generation immigrant. You moved here, and the book basically talks about your journey, right? The journey from you coming in from there in a humble background, and then coming over to America, basically, right? In a
Well, yes, that's one way to see it, but I would more focus on going from adversity to triumph pretty much. So it doesn't really have much to do with the, physical location, but more about the journey and how I can share with others who have, as I wrote in the book itself, life is made with different colors of struggles, and we all got painted with some. So we all have struggles and challenges in our lives, but how we can take those challenges and make something great out of it is what I try to share with Unbroken Optimist.
Amazing. That's awesome. I mean, I like the idea of it, and I read the book and the concept. What? Why did you want to write a book in the way you wrote it? I mean, did you want to? I know it talks deep. Like in the beginning, when you started it, it talks about your upbringing and then
Yeah.
about family and all that. Why did you want to start it out that way? That kind of story.
Well, I wanted to write Unbroken Optimist for a few reasons. Through my life, I've met people who I would consider way more intelligent, way more strong, and like who might have more tools than I had. But through conversations with those people from all walks of life, from um, people who scrub the toilets to CEOs, I've noticed that a lot of people usually are blind to their own qualities and greatness. And I decided I was going to do something about it. One of the things I believe in is to always do what I can do about any situation that I think I could do something about. So, yeah, I decided to share my perspective and also the principles and lessons that have guided me along my journey with people whom it might be useful to.
Awesome. Excellent. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing in Togo and how
Yes.
life was over there. You were born in 86, in May 86, as I'm reading here in your book, on a Friday. And tell us how life was back then. I know you mentioned Civil War and all that. Tell us how life was growing up in Togo. You lived in a hut?
Uh, Growing up in Togo was great. It was amazing. One aspect of scarcity that I think we don't talk about most of the time is that we only see things scarce once we start comparing, right?
Hmm.
But to talk about my personal upbringing and the challenges that I've had, it wasn't necessarily uh, like hard per se, right? Yeah, you would go without food a couple of days. You might have to go to school barefoot because your sandals went, ripped off and stuff like that. But you tend to embrace that as how it's supposed to be until you start seeing, oh, this person has it better than me, and you start comparing yourself. But fundamentally, yes, I've had a few challenges growing up, but deep down, I had also had a great time growing up. Hey, look who is there.
It's
Leslie
Leslie
Flowers.
Flowers, a good friend of
Yeah,
ours.
yeah.
Awesome. She's wonderful. Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, the points of positivity is always important, right? We always have to put that. We always have different things that happen in our lives. And you really put it beautifully in this book here about how you grew up and being in there. How was life? You actually lived in a hut, right? How was life living in a hut? Did you?
No, so I did not live in a hut
You
though.
didn't.
No, I so when you talk about Africa or Togo, most people will picture living in a hut, but yeah, I didn't live in a hut.
And there's a picture here, and so the picture in the book that you have, you probably know which one it is, right?
Yes, we had a hut in our compound, but yes,
Ah,
that wasn't where I lived specifically. But that's actually my house where I grew up.
okay,
Yes,
okay,
yeah.
interesting. What was
And just the hut there was for our birds.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to explore maybe one day. But what was your favorite childhood activities there in Togo?
Oh, a few of them. One of them, we would chase fireflies, you
Oh,
know, at night, and we'll catch them, and then we'll go to the public space where we would have drawn a circle. So we would go, bunch of kids go around the circle, and we'll let go of the fireflies at the same time, and that was so beautiful to see at night when we did that. That was one of my favorite games. I would love to play that game again sometime, Omar. And later on, I would fall in love with reading, and I did a lot of it. And I think that's one of my biggest blessings in life, having the opportunity to fall in love with reading and discovering, you know, other horizons and realities through reading was amazing to me.
yeah, kids now don't read as often. They're more on TVs and electronics. But I can relate to the fireflies because I lived in Arkansas and they had humidity. And so I remember catching fireflies. I was like, what are these wonderful creatures? And then I would
Right?
put them in there. Was it Togo
It's
humid?
like flying light bulbs,
Oh,
right?
amazing, amazing. How was the weather like living there? The weather, was it humid?
It
Is
was humid, very humid, as we were along the equator and also pretty literally on the ocean. So, yeah, it was pretty humid, but also very hot.
Okay, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Leslie says she misses you. This is an awesome person. She does shows
Hey,
on and
Leslie. Yeah, it's been
and
a
she still
while.
does her shows. So awesome. We've missed you too. You know, we haven't seen you. I,
Margaret just
um,
showed up too,
I,
you know.
I'm very happy to have you on the show. We've been talking for a while, and so I said, Kofi, finally we were able to make it. And you've been busy, and I love your book. You know, I read your book a couple of times, and it's really a point in there. And then you can send me a nice thank you note in here. I loved it, and actually, Wow fan, she's also watching right now. She should be watching, and she's a fan. You remember her, right? Wow,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
of course,
So
of course. Yeah.
awesome. So then growing up, I think you also mentioned in the book you went to high school, right, over there as well. How was high school like?
High school was one of the toughest time ever in my life,
Uh,
because my sister, my older sister, and I, we've never left family, and all of a sudden we found ourselves in a different town, and back home, there's a saying that when there is enough for one, there is enough for two, right? So whatever we had as a family, we could all share. But then when my sister and I, we moved away from family and we're living by ourselves, going to high school. Yes, our parents did their best to provide for us, but even the most beautiful women in the world can only give what she has. So they did their best, but it wasn't enough to make end meet. So my sister and I, we found ourselves in a very difficult position where we would go to school days in a row without food. So
yes, I
high school
remember.
was very tough on that aspect. We would go roaming from farm to farm, picking up mangoes and fruits that we could scrap, and then we would have that for lunch, for dinner, next day again, until something comes from our parents from the village, and then we'll kind of switch it up a little bit. But usually, the food items that we would be sent didn't last long, so it was pretty tough when it came to what to eat.
Oh, perfect. Think about the next one. So we're going to talk about that was meat scarce and all that. But before that, I want to say hello to Wa. She's here watching. Hello, Kofi, and she's awesome. And also, we have Margaret here. Margaret Martinez.
Long
I've
time
seen
no
that
see.
in
You know
maybe.
what's amazing,
Yeah,
Omar,
yeah.
is how we've built a community
Uh-huh.
through LinkedIn, right? Like
Yes.
I'm seeing all these, her, I'm seeing Margaret, I'm seeing Leslie, and it just makes me feel so happy that, oh, these are my friends. I haven't seen them in a while. So
Oh,
it's so good to see
I'm
everyone.
actually active on this. I actually this morning with Donald Cohen, you probably know him. We did a live singing talent show this morning, and so
Oh,
we
wow.
from all over the world, from South Africa. So you guys can watch it on my channel, which is going to be "Do We Really Know Them?" That was an interesting program that I did,
Yeah.
and yeah, people can watch it. It's just fascinating who you can connect with and all that. So let's talk about also was meat scarce there in Togo? Because you mentioned you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. Was it expensive?
Me, not really. We Togo as a country farms chicken, goats, lamb, cow. So beef is, yeah, meat. s- Everything you can think of as food, as far
Is
as
there?
food is concerned, was there. It's just that we, like my family, we didn't have much to participate.
Yeah,
In the meat feast. But yeah, it wasn't that much a scarcity, but it was just our personal family and personal condition that brought more challenge. But for the most part, yeah,
there is
we
a very cute picture of you. If people can see it when you were a kid here.
and that's the library I was talking
That was the
about.
library. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
this
no, so you
beautiful
went to Catholic
this,
school or something. Yeah.
yeah, this beautiful hospital built by a congregation from Italy,
Uh huh.
and they had some of the most beautiful libraries I've ever experienced. and they would let whoever wanted to be in those spaces to take advantage of it. So I would go there as much as I could. It took maybe a few miles to get there, but once you get there, you're
That's
cruising.
high school there too.
Yeah, that's high
So,
school.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome. It's interesting. A lot of people are narrow-minded and they need to see stuff like that. And so your book really brings out, Africa and stuff like that because people, what do they think of Africa when they think of it? They think of a poor country, right? People living in huts or like that. So it's amazing that you did this kind of a book. So it's awesome.
Thank you,
And
Omar.
then from there, you went to high school. Do you think that was tough with you and your sister living there? That's the first time you left. How old were you? Like 16 or 15 when you left to high school?
I was, gosh, I think I was 17
Uh huh.
or 16. Yeah,
Yeah,
somewhere between 16 and 17 when I started high school. Yeah.
got it. And awesome. And then, so you finished high school there. Then you decided to tell us about what happened next. Did you go to apply,
So,
go to America? That was probably after, because I know you went to college, I think, in Togo, right?
oh yeah, I studied civil engineering in Togo. But high school was so challenging that I failed, and that
Uh-huh.
was the first time I've ever failed in school. And then we went back to the village, and I said, no, I'm not going to waste all the struggle and the challenges I've faced in high school by not finishing high school.
Yeah.
So I decided I would go and just continue with that venture and get my high school diploma, and then keep going. So yeah, I moved from there, went to the capital of Togo, which is Lome, and I finished high school the fourth year, and then enrolled into civil engineering in college. While I was in college, I was singing in nightclubs. I would literally leave nightclubs and go to to class. You would just have this red-eyed guy, roaming across the campus. But that's how I was able to make end meet, and eventually graduated with my civil engineering degree, started my own company, and things have changed ever since then. Yeah, I went from those humble beginnings to starting my own company, creating jobs, becoming the youngest CEO in Togo in 2013. And no, 20, yeah, 2012, 2013. And then eventually in 2015, my wife and I, we took part in the diversity visa program. And that was like many years after. And we decided, okay, now that we got this green card to go to the US, what are we going to do? We thought about everything. We thought about our kids, about the opportunity they could have, and especially one thing that I didn't share is my love for anything that flies. So I've always wanted to be a pilot, to fly an airplane, and in the reality of Togo, the conditions didn't allow for me to be able to do that. So funny, but yeah, being able to potentially fly on an airplane, not fly myself, or I've been able to fly an airplane, was one of the few reasons why we decided to give up everything we built in Togo, um, to get on this adventure to the US. So we landed in Texas on September 27, 2016.
Ah, right. You
Yeah.
mentioned that. Let's go a little bit before that because I know you mentioned a few things. So you did engineering at that. Why did you study civil engineering? What
'Cause I
to the,
needed money, Omar.
huh? What's that?
I needed money.
Oh, you need money. Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yes, definitely that part. But I mean,
I,
why did you decide to do so? Because I did civil engineering too. It runs in the family,
mhm.
and I was good at math and science in high school, right? So why did you decide to go around that way? Did you have some family? Did you have some family pressure? I know about the money, but why
Nothing.
particular civil engineering?
Nothing at all. It was just like observing around me what field was more promising for me as a young man, to, who comes from a very humble beginning to be able to make a living for myself and my family. So civil engineering turned out to be where I could easily, well, when I say easily, but where the opportunities and the odds were higher for me to make a living and to run my own business. And, Africa up until now is still in being built, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's purely, yeah, selfish. I just wanted to make money.
Oh, exactly. Oh, okay. That's good. That's good. You had the opportunity there to be able to do that. That's awesome. I want to say hello to Dr. I mispronounced it, but it's New, I think. She's awesome. Her kid participated in my Zoo Party show. Her son and another one. So she says
Man,
hi.
I haven't been active on LinkedIn at all, and I've missed so many great, great
Good,
people.
great friends. You've been busy working and doing some books and stuff like that. That's awesome. So yeah, now let's go more into that in terms of okay. So tell us a little bit about the Civil War as well, because you had Civil War,
So
right?
yeah, in 2005,
2005.
2005,
Yeah,
you know, um, so Togo, little story,
yeah.
my home country was ruled by the same man for since independence. And then he passed in 2005, and his son took over.
Yeah. That's usually how it is, right?
The son took over, and the people said, no, 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 this is not a kingdom, right? There
Yeah.
are capable people in the country who can also lead the country. But because the army was on the side of the president, they were like, no, 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 we are going to do whatever we want. So there was a turmoil that led to uh, very serious problems. People died, um, school schools closed. It was pretty bad. I think UN estimated the total death for such a small country to I think 1,800, which is a lot. And this is not like this is imagine the people of a country being killed by the army of their own government, right?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's what happened, and that's one of the reasons why I was like, yeah, I'm ready to risk it all because going from where I started to having my own company, and I was doing really well. Like I've built roads, not just in Togo, in Ghana, Benin, Ethiopia, South Sudan. I've built schools, ports, water networks, roads, a few houses, a couple gas stations. So yeah, things were great, and which I'm extremely grateful for. But then, because of the political environment and all the conditions, we decided we will go and fight for our dreams elsewhere.
Awesome. Oh yeah, that's amazing. And then here's the map of Tokyo. If you don't know, what was the population back then? Probably a couple of million. Very small, I'm
The
sure.
population of Togo back when I was living in Togo in the 2000s was less than the population of New York City,
Aha. Wow.
just to
Wow.
put things in perspective. And you can put 75 Togos in Texas.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so very, very small.
I want to say hello to Michelle Atkins, super mom, mom of 15 kids. Do you remember her?
Of course, how can I forget Michelle? Come on.
Looks like Kofi remembers you, Michelle. If you're there, give us another shout out. Thank you for joining us. I know she's busy. She
And
has today a network and all that, and so I might be
new
even.
profile picture, Omar. She's got a new profile picture
She
since.
does. She does. I think it's from her TV show or
Oh,
station that she has. She has a new Zendaya one. So
oh, that's so cool.
I might. I'm not saying, but I could broadcast from hers pretty soon. We'll find out. I'm thinking about it, but she's awesome. I do like the show. She's an awesome person. She was a guest on my other show that I do. Do we really know them? So we get to know people who they really are on that one. This show is the book show, so you're perfect for this. We get to know who you are, your culture, and also we get to know about your book. So, she's here.
Yes, I am here. She is here. So good. So
Awesome, awesome. Okay, I don't wanna. Let's go ahead and go over to the next part of it. So, you guys want to leave Togo, go to Texas. Interesting how you mentioned the size of Texas. So you went to Texas, you landed there. You had family, I think, in Texas as well, right? Did you have a cousin or something?
well, I call him cousin, but truth is, we are not related. We are not blood related. Man, the guy and myself, we went to high school together back in Togo.
Uh huh.
So many years before I moved with my wife and then daughter, he moved way a few years, many years before we moved, and he was living in Texas. So I did not have anyone in the U.S. to go to. But because we kept relationship,
Yeah.
we kept connection. When everything started happening with the diversity visa program, I reached out to him, and he said, "Oh, of course." He supported me, guided me through the whole process, and then we joined him. Yeah, such a huge blessing he's been to me and my family. So that's how we ended up in Texas.
Amazing. Look at that. Michelle wants to add your book to her virtual bookstore. Yes, you should definitely. I mean, I have it here. Who needs the virtual when you have one in?
Yeah, Lachelle, what do you need from me to make that happen? I'm honored you would offer that. Anything I can do to make it happen, please let me know and we'll get it done. Thank
Reach
you so much.
Definitely, he's awesome, and thank you all for joining us. You guys could be doing something else, but you chose to join. I think they're joining because of you, Kofi. They like you. They like
Because of us.
because of us, exactly.
This is
Yep.
a team game,
Yeah,
It's a,
exactly. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's 8:30 at night. It's a perfect time. It's 5 Pacific, so it's not bad here. Let's change a little bit subject. How is the heat in Nebraska? We'll talk about your current. How is life in Nebraska and the heat these days?
So they say there's a saying in Nebraska that if you don't like the weather,
Yeah,
wait 2 seconds, it will change.
that's
So,
staying in Nebraska.
so
I think
yeah,
it's everywhere.
the weather here in Nebraska is totally a psychopath. Like
So,
it changes, switches on you. You wake up in a jacket, and
yeah.
then the next thing you know, you're stripping everything off yourself, and then the next hour you're putting a coat on. It's just all over the place.
Oh yeah, I
Even
lived in Arkansas, and so I
it's
can.
very windy too.
Yeah, Wendy. I'm also thinking about Kansas, but it borders it. It's a different area. But when we lived in Arkansas as a child, we had tornadoes, and so it was switched. So one time it was really hot, the next it was really cold, like in the 30s, and we all got sick. It was like that kind of so. But in Arizona, it's like it's beautiful. It's hot, but it's just constant. We have nothing here, just heat.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so that's awesome. And then come, we're almost wrap it up here in a bit. Coming to America, what was the biggest challenge? I know coming to a new country, changing the culture,
Mm.
the language. Maybe you didn't speak as much English. You spoke French, probably, maybe English as well. But what was one of the biggest? I know you had support from your friend there, coming into Texas.
Yeah.
What would you say, looking back at it, some challenges that you had um, in coming
Wow.
in? I mean, you might be a couple. You can probably think of a few.
Well, yeah, English is definitely up the
Learning the language.
yeah, the language barrier was definitely one of the biggest challenges.
Uh-huh.
Um, and also, when you come to a new country, we tend to seek comfort from the community of people who are with us of the same background, right?
Yes, exactly.
And that can also be a trap because you go to this community where you feel comfortable, you feel supported, you feel understood, but then everybody just speaks the language you already know,
Yes.
and that doesn't give you the opportunity to grow and learn the new language that is been a challenge for you. So that was a big challenge for me to break away from the tribe, quote unquote, to go learn, because I view it as, I don't need to learn the language I've been speaking my whole life anymore, but I definitely need to learn English. And for me to do that, I'll have to spend time with people who can help me do that. So being um, deliberately deciding to cut ties with my community in the beginning was a challenge, definitely, that wasn't easy.
Oh yes, absolutely. No, I mean, first thing you do come in when you come here, you do want to integrate, but then slowly and slowly you need to integrate with the English language and come out there. So that's awesome. So how many years has it been here in America? 20 years now for you?
It's been 9 years.
9 years. Okay, wow, that's amazing. And then there's something in the book that I remembered. You drove from a certain state to another state. And that was kind of challenging for you, right? You went to Washington, you went to other places. Tell us about that. Why did you have to leave? And tell us about that experience.
So I enlisted into the Air Force, U.S. Air Force, out of El Paso, Texas. So I went to um, boot camp, test school, and then came back to El Paso, Texas. But then I was sent to Fairchild Air Force Base in Spokane, Washington State,
Haha.
and I needed to move to Washington State. But instead of flying and making the Air Force move my household goods to the new state from Texas, I decided to rent a U-Haul and then move everything myself. So I drove across the U.S. from Texas all the way to the Northwest.
To Washington State. Yeah, awesome. How many days did that? I think you mentioned in the book. How many days did that take you?
A
Get there.
few days, and I deliberately drove across multiple states. That's, if I'm driving, might as well make it a fun trip and explore. So I think I drove across 6 or 8 states, I believe,
Yeah.
uh, including both extremities: Washington State, Texas, uh, New Mexico, Colorado, Maine, um, to name a few. So, yeah, the Air Force actually was the reason why I moved across the states.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
I can see Lachelle has a question.
She does. She does. What advice would you give to someone learning a new language? So she was in Aruba and she was raised to speak 4 to 5 languages. Wow. How would you answer her question?
Well, that's a great question, Lachelle. And I think what made the difference for me was thinking in English. So we think more than we speak. And when you are by yourself and you're interacting with reality, and you can do that in the new language you're learning, it gives you more reps, gives you opportunities to manipulate, right? To mingle your reality with that language. And for example, right now I'm looking at my office, the door or the opening, because it's wider than a door, that gives onto the hallway. And then there's some art pieces on the wall facing me. uh, there's a key holder with envelope box on it. So, like, interacting with with your environment in that language turned out to be very helpful to me, as I would have to sometimes stop, grab my phone, and use Google Translate. ChatGPT wasn't a thing back then,
Mhm.
so you'd use Google Translate and say, "Oh, I'm looking at the rug on the in the hallway, but I don't know how to say rug." So I would pull out my phone, and then I'll translate that from my native language, and I'll be like, "Oh, so tapi is rug," and then I can learn from that. But if I wasn't thinking or using that approach, then I will have to wait until I talk or have a conversation with someone one day where I need to use that word before I can, uh, use or enrich my vocabulary with that word. So I think thinking and also understanding that the same way we learned growing up, any language that we've learned applies to English or any language you're learning, whether you're 20 years old or 45 or whatever. Just be intellectually humble to go to the basics of the language too can be helpful.
Amazing. And the phonics. Yeah, good points. Show interest, and anybody can do it. Like you mentioned, age doesn't matter. I mean, because somebody can be in his 60s, 70s, as long as you're willing to do it and you're
Yeah.
healthy mentally to do that, to study.
Yeah.
You
I
can,
think one of the things that get in the way for most people, as far as I have noticed, is that people want to learn as adults. They want to learn a new language from an intellectual perspective, right?
yeah,
You think they're too good for a certain way to learn the language, and then that hurt them back because you
yeah,
just have to go to the basics and watch kids shows and stuff like that, because that's exactly how our brain learns new languages.
exactly. No, you're right about that. Definitely. Those definitely the kids shows help a lot. You know? I tried learning the Bosnian language too as well, but doing with the online instructor. So you have to really study and study it yourself. But then living in the environment doesn't help you, right? For you, coming to everybody speaks English here, like so many millions of 300 million speakers.
100%. That was
Makes it easier. I mean,
hard.
did you in America? Did you work at that point? I know you were in the army, kind of thing, but did that help you being in the army to
Air
give?
Force. But yeah, so in the beginnings, I couldn't get a job right away, and that was also a choice because I was very, very, very like basic. I couldn't work with English, right? As a tool, I couldn't use English in a working environment. So I decided, because I needed to make a living to take care of my wife and my child, I started a landscaping company. And as I would joke with people back then, I don't need to speak English to a grass before I cut it off,
Yeah,
right? So it
uh,
was so easy for me to do landscaping because as soon as we are done negotiating the price with
yeah,
the homeowner, that's
yeah.
it. You just go and get busy and get their place cleaned up and you get paid. So I didn't really need to use English, and that was a strategic choice for me to be able to make money while I ramp up my English skill.
Amazing. I mean, did you practice civil engineering at all here in America or only back home?
Zero.
Zero. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
just curious on that. Okay. Interesting. Awesome. And then, so yeah, I think that's pretty much, we wrapped up everything in that. So that's only been like 10 years or so since you've been here, right? 9 years, you said, right?
9 years now. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, that's a good amount of time, but it's not like 30 years or more, you know? I've been in Arizona for 30 years though, so I can, so yeah,
Yeah.
you'll get there.
We're just getting started here.
Exactly. So and then you already have the first book. So this book, you published this in 2021. You said right, about
Yes.
4 years ago. That was
Yes.
right after COVID. How was that experience? You writing the book? Let's talk about that. Your experience in writing this book, and in terms of during the COVID, after COVID, that's when it was published. But you were writing it during COVID time, I'm sure, right?
Well, yeah, this book actually started in French
Uh huh.
before we even moved to the US. And then I reflected on the best foot forward and decided to switch things up. Um, but yeah, um,
Share your website.
2020, 2021, when before Unbroken Optimist get published, I reached out to, excuse me, specifically 8 different publishing companies, and the story was the same. We love what you're doing here, Kofi, but we don't work with first time authors. So rejection after rejection, I was like, there's no way a stranger sitting behind a desk in a tie is going to tell me whether a fellow human being, can publish or not.
Yes.
So I decided I was going to take things into my own hands, and I self-published Unbroken Optimist.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
and that gave birth to our publishing company today, Flying Wings.
That's awesome. Let me that deserves applause.
And one of the things that I would love to share with you and your audience here around the experience of publishing Unbroken Optimist is that, the day we published the book, there were 12 people in attendance, and
Uh-huh.
five of them were my family, me, my wife, and our kids,
Huh? Wow. You said
right?
12 people.
But
12 people?
12 people,
Okay. So
but
that's so five of them was your family. That remains
uh,
the remaining seven. Wow.
seven, exactly. But 2 years ago, I was in front of 1,000 people in Las Vegas giving a speech thanks to
Yeah.
this book, right? So, and this book also became a bestseller. So the message here is that, one, the only approval or only permission you need to get it done is your own permission, the one you gave yourself. And the second thing to understand is that just because you start with 12 people, or you start writing the book by yourself and you publish it and no one was there, doesn't say anything about the quality or the message that and the impact that the message you have can have. So usually we let those things uh, derail us, or distract us from what we can do. But I encourage everyone who has a dream, who wants to achieve something, to just go for it. Just
Beautiful.
go for it.
Awesome. No, that's some really good points. Definitely should people do that. Can is this only online the book, or can you buy it like in Barnes and Nobles and stuff like that? Is
It's
it?
available in Barnes and Noble. Mostly people get it from Amazon, Goodreads, multiple, pretty much everywhere you buy books, you can find Unbroken Optimist. And funny enough, every now and then people will send me a screenshot, and someone sent me a screenshot of Unbroken Optimist being sold for over $400 on eBay. I'm like, I'm like,
Uh,
how?
that's crazy. Yeah, people try to make money on that. So is that? Do you have any legal thing on that? So people do that, or that's above you? I mean, if somebody buys it from you, they can sell it on that. I mean, that's
Yeah, once you publish a book, it's no longer yours, unless someone is infringing your rights.
yeah,
If someone buys your book, it's not, a product,
yeah.
and they want to sell it for $1 million, there's nothing you can do about it as an author.
Mm, definitely. Awesome. All right, perfect. The message of the book in like a sentence or less, if people haven't read it, the book is called Unbroken Optimist. It talks about your journey coming in from humble Togo, Africa, coming to America, being in the army. But what can you say in about 5 words or 6 words or less about the book as a message for people?
Unbroken Optimist is intended to share a guidance. No, let me take that back and try one more time.
Yeah, please do.
Unbroken Optimist, my intent for Unbroken Optimist is to share an approach to transforming your challenges into triumph. So
Amazing.
that's my goal for Unbroken Optimist. And I've been so blessed that a lot of people over the years have sent reviews, messages, letters that confirm that, right? Because back in the beginning of this journey, I did not have so much confidence. I was proud of what I did, but I didn't have so much confidence in the book. But I've now borrowed confidence from people across the world, Germany, the US, um, um, and all over the world, that I borrow those confidence today to tell people that if you want to look at your challenges from a different perspective and utilize them to build a beautiful thing, Unbroken Optimist is the book for you.
Amazing. We have Keith here. Welcome. Join us. He has a question. What would be beautiful for you to achieve this week?
Whoa, that's what I'm doing right now. Getting
Ah,
on this show and just sharing time with everybody.
amazing. Amazing.
It's already happened. This is the beautiful thing I can achieve this week.
That's awesome. That's amazing. It's a beautiful question, Keith, and we're almost going to close it here shortly. You said that you're writing your first book in French. Is that right?
Yes, my first book in French, which surprisingly, is in a completely different realm. It's written to teach French background immigrants in the US to learn and understand the stock market and develop personal finance literacy.
Okay, amazing. So it's kind of a different genre. This is more about kind of like about your upbringing and then being an unbroken optimist. But
Yeah,
that's more about finance. You said
yeah,
that's
personal finance. Yeah,
awesome.
educational.
Awesome. All right. I appreciate you, Kofi, for being on the program today. You're awesome. Any last minute words for you? You're an author. You're an entrepreneur. You're also. We never talked about your clothing line. A little bit of that. So that's
No worries.
what's
I just want to seize the opportunity, Omar, to say thank you for having me. Thank you to everybody who jumped on. I thank you to our LinkedIn community. I miss you all, and I hope we can get back together again on the platform very soon.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely come back. I know. I remember you were in the audio events, which they got rid of. They're all video now. I think 10. And maybe you're aware of that. You just been busy, kind of thing. What you been busy with? You just been busy with live and stuff.
Busy with life, I'm getting out of the Air Force next year, so I'm prepping myself so I can have something to
Nice.
fall back on. So I'm getting all those things in place so
Yeah.
that I don't have to ask my kids to stop drinking milk.
Yeah. Exactly. That's awesome. All right. Perfect. All right. I'm gonna stay with me. I'm gonna end the stream here a little bit, and thank you again, Kofi, for being on the program. Grab his book. You can Google it. You can find it on his profile on LinkedIn. The LinkedIn is at the bottom there. You can message me. You can message him. There's his name there. Grab the book. I think it was what, like $20? How much was this book?
19.
19, yeah, something like that. They always 1999 or 19 something like that, which was also a wonderful year, 1999, right?
Yes,
Where were you? We'll end with that. Where were you in 1999?
I was in Togo actually.
You were in Tokyo. Well,
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
remember what you were doing?
Oh, I think I was right, maybe uh, senior year
Yeah,
in high school or
senior in high
middle
school.
school.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was in middle school somewhere.
We're
Yeah,
not too far in terms of age. You're born 86, I'm born 84. So we're a little bit close in terms of age,
I'm
Not just,
older than you. That's
yeah.
how it works.
Uh,
Six is
you're
six,
86, I'm
six
84.
yeah,
Yeah.
6 is bigger than 4, Omar.
86. No, you're
Yeah,
born 86.
yeah, but
I'm 84.
86
84.
is bigger than 84, isn't it?
1984. No, 1984. I'm older.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
older. Yeah. I
No, no,
yeah.
no. Let's compare 84 and 86.
Oh, that.
Got you.
Oh, you're so funny. But it's good to end on a laugh there. Far older than me. I give that to you. I hope you got laugh too over there. You got me there. But thank you, Kofi, again, and thank you, Ra, for being on the show. And she's awesome as well. Thank you so much again. Stay on the line for a little bit here, guys. We'll be back again for more episodes. Stay tuned. We're doing a couple Zoom party at the end of this month here with two wonderful couples, and then we'll be back with